Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the MMA Huddle. You are joined by myself and the ever-handsome Will in the other side of the screen. Let's kick off by saying we are going to be breaking down the flyweight vacant title bout because Henry Cejudo can't be bothered making a cut anymore and he's going to stick at 135, and he's also whispering about the 145, which is in itself a good laugh for us all. But anyway, just Benavidez against Figueiredo is going to be a lovely little fight to have for the title. Two absolute elite fighters. We'll be breaking down that card shortly, and of course at the end, join us for Will's bets. If you do have any picks, any bets, let us know what they are down the bottom of the screen in the comments section below. And next to the comments section below, just above, is that subscribe button. So if you hit that button, it would be wonderful to have you join us and for weekly interviews and breakdowns and the live chats that we do as well. Please do join in. It'd be great to hear from you all. It is more of a community this than just me and Will. We want to involve everyone to talk, communicate, and kind of build up that relationship of advice for each other, you know, with picks and all sorts. But Will, let's start first and foremost, bro. How was your weekend? Obviously, you watched obviously had Bellator in Ireland, which had an absolute mess of a card that turned out to be and changes all the past few weeks. Then you had the UFC on, and obviously you had a little Fury and Wilder 2 fight go on.
No, it was good. Like I say, I was actually really looking forward to Felder Hooker. I really was, and I was glad that the kind of fight started early, they finished early, and I was kind of planning watching Fury, but I was knackered, so I got up in the morning and watched it. But like I say, it was good. Bellator went back into Dublin. I think they did pretty well with the ticket sales again. So considering the card wasn't super strong, fair play to those guys. And I enjoyed some of the fights of the UFC card, and it was just a good fight, kind of all in all, for kind of across your Bellator, UFC, and boxing. And fair play to Tyson Fury, because that's a story in itself where that guy kind of came from, mentally, physically, and then now he's kind of top of the world again. So yeah, it's been good. And I'm really looking forward to this title fight here that we've got this weekend.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be fantastic. So we're going to jump straight into the card. We haven't got the official lineup because there's been a couple of fight changes that have happened with guys pulling out, etc. So at the moment, we're going to start with Grant Dawson, who's got another guy stepping in Darrick Minna, however we pronounce it. Will, kick us off with your thoughts on this fight and who's going to take the win.
Yeah, to me this is kind of a straight fire kind of Grant Dawson win here. I don't like. I like the him v Skelly fight the couple of times that they've tried to put together. I thought it was a good matchup for Dawson at this point against a kind of veteran with a kind of good grappling base like Skelly. But when I look at this one coming in short notice, I think Grant Dawson's going to feast on this guy. I think he's going to take him down. I've seen him submitted. Obviously, you've seen him submitted last year on the Dana White Contender Show against Herbert Burns, and Herbert Burns is a dangerous guy on the ground anyway. I think Skelly's grappling and his control and just how heavy he is it will play a big part in this fight here. I mean, when you look at Minna, or Minna, I don't know how you pronounce it, I think it's Minna, I think it is, but he's a guy with 30 plus fights, so that in itself is a lot of experience. But for me, this is like Grant Dawson all day. I think he's going to take him down. I'd be surprised if his opponent gets back to his feet. I think this is, for me, I've got Grant Dawson to get a stoppage in the first couple of rounds easily. It'd probably be a submission. I think this is a good fight for him. Can I get him in the door? The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is this whole, he seems to get pulled with the USADA thing. It's kind of like the John Jones effect, well, isn't it?
It's weird, isn't it?
Something seems to kind of prop up and then he gets pulled from the fight, and then obviously Skelly pulls out. But like I say, looking at this fight, I've got Grant Dawson winning via submission.
I'm with you as well with the submission win. I think Grant should be able to use the wrestling big time. You know, it's short notice step in for Darrick Minna, we'll call it. Plus, he's got his name tattooed on his back, which, you know, if you've got your name tattooed on you, it says a lot. You know, I know there's other guys that do it, but I just think it's weird tattooing your name on yourself. Yeah, he's regional fighter. He was always the kind of guy who was just always going to fall short of signing up to the UFC. And it was just luck that he was in the local kind of ish guy to get into this card. I think Grant Dawson's going to have the wrestling and the kind of top pressure, pest him with punches, get it when Darrick's coming on the way up, sink in a hook, and then take the back to get the rear naked choke or something. And I've got images of that all day long. Yeah, I think Darrick's just going to be happy to get into the UFC and get a couple of fights and, make a couple of pound and a couple of quid and, gets a little UFC free kit from the Reebok store. So he won't be wrong with that, but I think it's a pretty simple cutthroat win there for Grant Dawson there. Next up we have, it's probably up there as one of the top 3 fights for me on the card in the welterweight division. Ismail here we go. Naurdiev against Sean Brady. Now, Will, I think this is a cracking fight. I think, annoyingly, it's a bit early for these two dudes to be kind of facing each other. I would still be giving both parties guys in the welterweight division who probably on the way out rather than the way in, just to help build them up a bit more. Sean Brady, super well rounded, made a pretty much decent UFC debut against a very tough opponent in. What's his name again? That's how bad I'm going to forget that. Court McGee, that's it. Yeah, it was on the tip of tongue it was. Court McGee is tough as coffin nails. We've seen him fight for a while now. He's been in the UFC, I think they were talking about nearly 10 years. And you thought, how's he been in the but he's just a tough cookie. He's just got a good output, good cardio, and Sean dealt with that really well. He landed a good strikes, he caused a lot of problems, and I was super impressed by Sean's kind of performance there. Ismail has had a rough time with kind of opponents he's had to, stepping into the UFC, and he's performed well. I thought he's shown a lot of promise, and I found this is one of my harder picks. You alright, Will? You alright, bro? Can you hear me? Big Willie! I think we might have lost Will, folks.
No,
it's just... You're still there, bro. Good. No, it's just to internet cut us off for a moment. I was just saying, well, this is probably the hardest fight I've got to call because you've got guys who can strike on their feet. I think Sean is, on the grappling aspect, though, I think Ismail has got the better scrambles kind of thing going on. I think that he can, try to take maybe opportunities like Chase Roundtree, Rentree. Rencountree, yeah. I always forget that bloody name. I always think Roundtree, like the fruit, the sweets. That's the only reason I remember it. I thought Chance was a tough opponent for him. Chance is a big guy in the welterweight division as well, and it was a hard fight. But look at Michel Praceres, who got popped, didn't he? And he's not back till he's 41, and he'll come back and probably win. That's the thing about him. And Sayer was just too slow. Ismail was able to pick him off and put on a performance. I'm going to go with Ismail here. I think the dude's showing good conditioning. I thought the wrestling aspect and the scrambling aspect he can show really well performances. I think Sean Brady's a very solid fighter. I think he's got good striking. He's very compact. He can offer the grappling aspects, but I just think Ismail here, with the scrambles that he has and the skill set, I'm just going to pick him for some reason. I like the he's a bit more. He's got a bit more flair, a bit more flamboyancy, which can also kind of catch someone like maybe Sean Brady out, where Sean isn't as unpredictable, let's say, as Ismail. So I'm going to go with a decision win for Ismail.
It's a very, very good, well-matched fight. I was looking at the fight card, and this was one a couple of weeks ago that really jumped out at me straight away. And I just think it's a little bit like two guys really young in their career, but I like this from the Naurdiev side and also the Brady side, because when I looked into Naurdiev, I was like, oh, okay, you can see the guy's got a lot of fights for being 23, 24 years old. Came into the UFC and obviously beating Praceres the way he did, the kind of way he kind of shut him down and really kind of beat him up. That was obviously an eye-opener, and then everybody was kind of on his tail and they were thinking that he was going to be the next kind of big thing coming through because of that win. And then he got kind of bullied by Rencounter. And he kind of got big, kind of big dude. But initially he showed some good takedowns and some really good hips, and striking is his strong point. He's a very good technical striker, very, very quick with his. So if he can keep this on the feet, he's probably going to have a definitive advantage, in my opinion. And then obviously he had Sayar Bahadrzada, who in his heyday used to be dangerous. I don't think he's dangerous. I think he's slowed down a lot, and Naurdiev was able to pick him up, even get takedowns on him. When you look at Brady's kind of UFC debut, Court McGee is never an easy fight. I don't care who it is. He is a little bit long in the tooth, probably in the UFC now. And he came out there with super aggressive, drop Court in the first round, and then I think he got hit way too much in that fight as the fight went on. I think he just fighting in Boston, fighting at home, I think was a little bit much for him, and he kind of absorbed more shots than he normally does, because I've watched his fights outside the UFC and LFA and CWFC. He's a very kind of, he maintains everything very, very well. He flows from kind of one aspect to the other of his game. Close fight. I've got Brady personally. I think it's going to be, the small kind of details are going to be kind of won and lost in this fight, because if he can get takedowns, this is what I think he's got to do. I think he's got to get takedowns at some point, because I think if he stand 15 minutes with Naurdiev, I think Naurdiev was just a little bit too quick and a little bit too technical for him. But I still think he can give Naurdiev problems on the feet as well. One of the things I was looking at, I've got this here from Naurdiev. So this is his last 6 or 7 opponents and ages that he's been facing. So 36, 33, 38, 37, 40, 38. That is the ages of his opponents for his last 6 or 7 odd fights. And now he's facing someone mid-20s with a lot more probably given them. This is why I like the matchup. He's facing someone round about a similar age who is not at that elder age statesman, because like I'm saying, Steve fights in the UFC are all guys in the kind of mid-30s. So
more durable as well, Sean. Probably more durable, probably have a spring in his step as opposed to the guys who are in the latter stage of their career.
Pretty much, yeah. So that was the one thing that kind of jumped out to me. Not that it really means anything too much, but it's like the fact that he's facing a young, hungry kid who's undefeated. I just, for me, I like everything that Brady kind of does. But like I said, I think it's a really tough fight for both guys. So I've got, I was going to say Court McGee there. I've got Brady, but I've got him via a very, very close decision. I think that if he can tie Naurdiev up and get a couple of well-timed takedowns, that would help him massively here. But I've got Brady via close decision.
I think it'll be very rare I hear the words from Will say, I've got Court McGee in 2020.
Yeah.
Next up we have Aalon Cruz against Spike Carlyle. Will, it's a surprise matchup for me, if I'm honest with you. I didn't really think, when I heard this announcement, had a look at both guys. Cruz obviously got the stoppage in Dana White consensus, but as a general kind of thing, I went, okay, 2 new faces in the UFC, but Will, anything about Spike or Aalon that you're interested about?
Yeah, I like Spike's nickname, Alpha Ginger.
Yes,
It's a great nickname. I like what I see from Aalon Cruz. I think he's got, for a guy in that division to be 6 foot and have a 79-inch reach advantage in that division. That's
insane. That's
massive leverage in that division if he knows how to use it. And it seems to me he knows how to use it. He's got really beautiful knees, stepping knees. And I think on the feet here he's far more in a dominant position than what Carlyle is. For me, when I watch Carlyle, he looks like a judoka, maybe jiu-jitsu guy. With some fairly decent wrestling. I think he's striking. I think he's at a disadvantage in the striking realm here. So I think he has to try and get inside, clinch up, and try and work for takedowns. I think he might get something. I just don't think he holds him there. I think Cruz is just too big. He can frame off a little bit too much. And then I think on the feet, I just think he can pick Carlyle off. But Carlyle, to me, he looks like a bit of a toughie, so he might be able to kind of stick around a little bit longer in this one. But ultimately, I kind of like Aalon Cruz. I love that Dana White Contender Series appearance that he had, and he got his contract through that. Really, really like what I see from this guy. And like I say, it'd be interesting to see how long he lasts at featherweight, because he's huge for that division. But I'm going to pick Aalon Cruz. Have I gone via knockout? I think it's going to be a decision, but I think it'll be pretty comprehensive for Aalon Cruz, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Cruz pick. I think that he should be able to use his hands to really get this fight over with. Spike's shown that he's a bit flat-footed, Will, like you say, judoka maybe background, because he's quite flat-footed when he fights. He's not... My worry for Spike as a long-term thing, especially if he's going to be in the UFC for a few more fights, is not being lighter and more mobile on the feet with footwork and angles. He can plod. It feels like he's plodding or walking towards, because he wants to grapple. He wants to get hold of you potentially. He got that infamous spinning not spinning back fist, spinning elbow finish on LFA, which you can find online if you just YouTube that, folks. The full fight is as well on YouTube, but you can see the incident there, and that was more of a case of he turned away from his opponent, which is something you got to look at, and the opponent swung a punch, and he was kind of turned away to move up, to kind of step away to kind of create space, and then he swung round and caught the guy. If the guy had not just rushed in like that, he wouldn't have got caught. But as a whole, when I watch Spike's fights, he's happier when it's closer. But I think Aalon's got that, like you said. It reminds me of Hooker with the knees up the middle. Hooker likes to throw. Cruz has got the similar kind of aspect in the striking, and I think as long as Cruz can deny the takedowns, keep the fight standing, there's no reason why he should not win this on points by a country mile. I think Spike is going to have to close that distance, and I just don't think he'll have the speed and the footwork to get that distance closed. I think he'll have a difficult time against Cruz, so I'm picking Cruz on that one as well, bro. Next up we have is a really fun fight next. Mr. Jordan Griffin, who, if he fights, he's going to have a barn burner. He is so much entertainment. I really enjoy watching him. I know you do, Will. Jordan Griffin is a guy who's just brought many fights to us. But we've got TJ Downtown Brown coming along to step up and make his UFC debut after being on Dana White Contender Series as well, winning with a submission. For me, I think TJ Brown is not a bad opponent to have for anyone. I think TJ can offer a lot on the feet and the ground. I think he's a very skilled opponent. He has lost to some good opponents in the past, you know, kind of veteran. Trailgun as well as another one he lost to in the past. So he's got both sides of it. He's not undefeated. I think sometimes it isn't a bad thing in MMA to have a blemish on your record. It can certainly help you grow and help you help you share as a fighter. That KO finish he had in LFA with a head kick was a nice finish. Caught that over the shoulder with a head kick finish. I thought it was pretty tasty. One thing with Jordan Griffin is that dude is a warrior, and he fights for your money. And that's something I like about Jordan Griffin. I think his fight IQ, for me, Jordan Griffin is my only worry. Because I think in some fights, I'm like, you could win this fight. You just have to stick to the game plan. And I sometimes feel like he doesn't stick to what he should do in fights. I think his striking is solid all round. I think he's got good hands. He just has to stay off the ground, getting put on his arse. For me, I think if he can stay off the ground, like look at Chase Skelly, got him down. Nice scrambles, and look, don't get me wrong, Jordan Griffin got a couple of submission attempts, I think, off the top of my head, against Chase Skelly and put him in a bit of danger. It was Dan Ige, wasn't it? They got the guillotine on or something like that. It was really tight. It was one of them two. It was Ige, I think it was, yeah. He got the guillotine choke, which was, that was bloody close, folks, if you know anything about fighting. I'm going to favour Jordan Griffin. I think, obviously, the only reason I'm favouring him is the potential he's going to get cut is one thing. He loses this, that's 3 in a row. He's past that stage of the first UFC fight, so he got past the octagon jitters, sorry. And I feel like he's going to be a lot more calmer and should be a lot more structured in this fight. TJ Brown, I've got a good decision win for Griffin over TJ Brown here, but I think TJ is going to be a fun addition to the UFC.
To me, he's just a little bit too wide open. He's very in your face, but he's very wide open to being hit. You watch that fight with Dylan Lockhart in the Contender Series, he gets dropped in the first.
Yes.
He just needs to, if he calmed himself down a little bit, just backed up, picked his shots, but he's like straight in your face, wanting to really get into the fight, and sometimes that can hurt you being dropped. But also his fight IQ, remember, he landed a kind of vicious knee on that kid on the ground, and could have easily kind of got DQ'd out of that, but fought on. Was probably down, actually, maybe close to a couple of rounds, definitely around it. It was at least 1-1 going into that third. But he was like desperate for that takedown, and once he got it there, I think Lockhart was a little bit kind of gassed a little bit, so he found the way to the back, and I think that's his go-to move, is getting the rear naked choke. For me, Griffin, he like plants the feet and throws everything into every shot, and that's where I think he could maybe catch him. I think Brown's going to want to try and grapple here. And it's whether Griffin can stop that, because he's fought a couple of really hard guys in his UFC debut. I mean, Skelly and Ige, it's 2 fights to enter into the UFC, especially Ige is probably close to being a ranked guy, and Skelly's a really hard veteran to fight, like a really hard veteran.
Did Skelly have the rear naked choke on him? Was that Ige?
I think so, yeah, at one point, and then it
came out. Looked like it was in, didn't it? And he got out.
He got out, so he's a tough guy. He's a very, very tough guy. Both guys have had loads of losses in their career, and they're at this spot here. I think this is just the time when Griffin's going to come out here and get this first UFC win. I think he could hurt Brown a little bit, and I can see him staving off a lot kind of takedown attempts from Brown, but ultimately I have him winning the fight via decision. So Jordan Griffin for me in that one.
Nice. We were going to do Luis Peña, but his opponent's pulled out, and he's apparently got someone stepping in, but we don't know who yet.
I think I know. I've got a little bit in English. I think his name is Steve Garcia Jr. So he's a guy that fought in the Contender Series, but like I say, until it's officially announced with the UFC, we're not going to be looking at that fight.
No. So sadly, folks, we can't give you a prediction because at the time of this recording, we didn't know officially. So heavyweight match up next is Marcin Tybura against Sergey Spivak. Well, two skinny boys looking to throw down against each other. What's going to happen?
Mate, it's this one's like sketchy pick just all over, because I don't think Spivak is all that good. I think Tybura is definitely declining. So it's, to me, the way I kind of see this fight, if Spivak's really got nothing on the feet, Tybura should really rinse him up there and keep him at distance, use high kicks, body kicks, whatever. He is the far superior striker. Where Spivak will look to take the fight to the ground like he did against Tuivasa. That's where he is. He likes to lay on you and try and find submissions through that. Now, you would think that Tybura, for the amount of time that guy's been in the UFC and the amount of time he's been kind of through KSW and all that jazz, coming up through in the European promotions, that even if he get taken to the ground, I don't think he'd get caught in submissions by this guy. I don't think he's a jiu-jitsu wizard where if he gets you down one time, that's it. But Tybura's been hard to trust recently, and like he's lost 4 of his last 5. Of course, you've got a couple of fights in there with like Verdum and so on, and Lewis, who are just milling around that top 5.
Yeah.
And Verdum had a strap round his waist. But Tybura, he's declining slowly but surely, which is a little bit, considering he's only 34, he's still super young for the heavyweight division. But maybe his durability is starting to go. Knocked out by Shamil, knocked out by Sakai. So if you can catch this guy with a fairly decent shot, you can maybe put him down. I just don't think Spivak's got that kind of striking to hurt him in that aspect. So I think he's been out there at Syndicate MMA in Vegas, and I've seen a lot of him and Jojo Calderwood's like Instagram stories and so on. So if he's got John Wood in his corner, I would like that quite a bit, because I think John Wood's actually a pretty decent coach. But like I said, I don't rate Spivak all that highly, and I cannot think that Tybura's fell this far down where he loses to this guy, but who knows. I'm going to go Marcin Tybura. I'm going to go via knockout or a very, very bad decision, but I'll go Tybura for the win.
Yeah, my initial thought was I wasn't going to go pick Tybura because of the way he's performing lately, but Spivak, if he gets you to the ground, he has got good ground and pound.
Yeah,
he hits really. He's got really good technique. Weirdly, he's got good technique for striking on the ground, but not on the feet. He just wails, doesn't he? You see him just throwing heavy shots. He misses. And look at Tai Tuivasa. Tai Tuivasa's no ballerina on the feet. But weirdly enough, Tybura actually isn't that bad on the feet. He actually isn't too bad with his footwork. I think Marcin Tybura should be able to outstrike him, clinch him on the wall, just to get their breath back, because they'll both need it, and then split. And then reset again, like the referee comes and breaks them up. Hold them until the referee breaks it up. And Tybura's not too bad at the takedown defense compared to like Tai Tuivasa, who had none. And when Tai Tuivasa looking like he just got tired and then just couldn't get back up again, could he? He went, nah, I'm all right, mate. I'm too fat to get up now. Marcin Tybura is a bit better with that kind of aspect. So I'm going Tybura as well, even though you think you shouldn't go with him, because you look at his past few fights, he's not looking too pretty, and maybe the durability is going, but I just think, I'm like you, Will, I think Tybura's a little bit higher in level than Spivak, but it's the heavyweight, isn't it? Bloody anything happens in that division. It's so hard to pick sometimes, even when it looks obvious. Spivak can just throw absolutely just one random punch and knock Tybura senseless. So I'm going Tybura for the, I think, decision win. I think he should be able to piece up Spivak and then just get out there, get a nice decision win for him. Next up we have, this is another one of my fights that I'm super looking forward to. Brendan Allen, with the return of Tom Breese, who's been out for like another year, it feels like he's, or even longer. Man, Brendan Allen, Tom Breese, what a matchup that was when that got announced. I was absolutely jacked. I thought, get in there. What a great test that is for Brendan, as well as for Tom. I think the pair of them, Tom's still not established himself in the middleweight division. He's not consistent enough. Injuries is a huge factor. I think that plays a huge factor on your mental side of things. Team Renegade, though, in the UK are an absolute monster of a team with your likes of Leon Edwards, Fabian Edwards. They've just got monsters. Jai Herbert as well, who's just signed to the UFC to fight on the UFC London card. You've just got killer after killer. Is he fit? How long has he been fit for? He looks in all right shape, doesn't he, Will? Tom Breese, if you've seen that latest pitch, he looks all right. A little bit skinny. He could do work in his legs a bit, but he looks all right. He kind of looks like you and me, mate, when we haven't got our tops on. And but Brendan Allen, he is a relentless fighter. He puts in. He's very aggressive. Wants to get the grappling down, get the fight to the ground, and he just charges out. My worry is on this fight is you've got a guy in Tom Breese who's got absolute dynamite in those hands. Tom Breese has. He's got boxing for days. He's done footwork has come leaps and bounds. He's got pop in his hands. And if you look at I know it was down at 170, it's not the same, but down Sean Strickland fight. Sean Strickland fought the right fight against Tom Breese. Didn't want any of it. Didn't want to be getting involved in those hands. Was able to land a couple of shots and run away. Effectively, that's all Sean Strickland did. He just backed up and stayed away. And Brendan's going to not do that, though. That's the problem. So Brendan's going to be coming into shots from Tom Breese. I think as long as Tom can stop the takedowns, I think Tom Breese should be able to piece up Brendan Allen quite easily on the feet. He should be able to hurt Brendan quite hard. It's if Tom A can stop the takedowns. B, what's the conditioning for Tom Breese like after this break again? The lack of consistency. He didn't get much of a workout against Dan Kelly. Dan Kelly was 40 plus years old, kind of sitting target for him. And I know Dan Kelly said he got poked in the eye. It was actually a punch that hit him in the eye, just grazed his eye. That was the problem. But I'm going to go Tom Breese, even though it feels weird to say it. I was high on Brendan Allen. But just watching the tape and stuff, I just thought that Brendan's maybe a bit open to the striking side of things in fights, and he's a bit too open to getting hit, and he has to close the fight down to really get the advantage of this. Tom Breese, even though he's been out for a bit, it helps with his durability, and because of the team he's with and the momentum they've got, I kind of side with Tom Breese with the boxing here. I think he should be able to light up Brendan on the feet and should be able to stop takedowns and get a win here, maybe even a stoppage with his hands.
Yeah, I really like the fight. Like I say, I'm a little bit worried about Tom Breese, just how he's been in the UFC for 4 or 5 years?
Forever.
And he's only fought, this is going to be fight number 5. He's had a lot of issues, and the guy gets to fight day and can't fight, and he's healthy enough to fight, but obviously anxiety and everything, that's no joke with him. So, but when I look at both guys, skill sets, I think Tom Breese is actually a better fighter, in my opinion. But Brendan Allen's an absolute dog. He will scrap for his life. And you have to be very, very kind of careful with that guy. You can never write him off out in any part of the fight, any position in the fight, because he will fight until there's no fight left in him, pretty much. Striking, he picks apart Brendan Allen all night long with that long jab. I forget how technical Tom Breese actually is at times.
Crisp.
And then when you go back and watch him, he's super crisp. And he's a big part of that Renegade gym down in Birmingham for Leon Edwards. I've watched a couple of interviews with Leon Edwards, and he praises Tom Breese highly for helping him in a lot of his areas. So, and then you forget the guy's a black belt as well, and he's been doing a lot of grappling competitions as well. So, the only thing I'm a little bit worried here for if Brendan Allen gets his back, because he looks very dominant once he gets the back. If you watch some of Brendan Allen's fights, he went 5 rounds. Moses Marietta, he was getting multiple 10-8 rounds by getting the guy down, just being super heavy and not letting the guy up pretty much. And then you look at the Kevin Holland fight, I thought Kevin Holland played right into his wheelhouse like that.
Yeah.
See, the minute he got that takedown, And I was just like, oh my God, Kevin Holland. And Kevin Holland's a good fighter when he wants to be, but he just makes so many mistakes. I don't think Tom Breese makes that mistake, even if in a grappling situation. I think on the feet he picks apart Brendan Aalon. I think on the ground, if it was to go there, I think that he's a little bit of a better positional grappler than what Aalon is. But Aalon's just a good fighter, and I really like his jiu-jitsu coach, Daniel Vanderlei. So not writing Aalon off because he never stops in a fight and he keeps coming and he will never give up on himself. But skill for skill, if Tom Breese makes it to fight day, I think Tom Breese wins this fight. So I've got Tom Breese for the win.
Nice, bro, nice. Next up we have, kicking off the main card, Gabriel Silva against Kyle Phillips. What are you looking for, Will, in this matchup, which should be entertaining, to be fair?
Yeah, this is a really good fight with two kind of young kind of guys where I was looking at it originally and I was just sometimes I'll go and look at betting lines, and because the fights seem to get announced so early nowadays that I just kind of have a little peek ahead and see what the betting lines are, because obviously someone like me who likes a bet in the sport, you can find ultimate value by getting those early lines. And this one that jumped at me, I was like, oh, Gabriel Silva is quite a sizable underdog to Kyler Phillips. Like I say, both guys in their kind of mid-20s come from really good gyms, one in Brazil, one in Arizona, both pretty well-rounded. You've got Silva with a kind of boxing output, kind of more things where you've got Phillips, he'll throw more kicks, he'll throw more knees, he'll throw more spinning kicks, you name it. Where, like I say, Silva's kind of more, he sticks to his boxing. When it goes to the ground, I think both guys are pretty high level down there. I think that Silva, to me, looks the better grappler. I think you watch the Ray Borg fight, he swept Ray Borg a couple of times, and you've seen him a few weeks ago, just how offensive that guy is with his takedowns and how hard he is to get off you. And he managed to, I thought he handled himself actually really well in that fight. I bet him in that fight against Ray Borg. I thought he was too high an underdog. He fought for my money early on, but ultimately Ray Borg kind of came through and won. I just think that, like I say, I've got a funny feeling this fight's going to take place kind of more on the ground. And to me, I think Silva is just a better guy scrambling. And when he gets to maybe top position, I think that he can be pretty dominant there. And Phillips hasn't really fought all that much recently. I think he's been out injured. He had some surgery and so on. I've got Gabriel Silva. Actually, I'll give away one of my bets already, but I bet Gabriel Silva at plus 140, and he's now, let me bring up betting.
He is minus 120 or something, isn't he?
Minus 130. So
there you go, it's moved again.
He's coming in. So I got him really, really early, and it's something that I spotted really, really quickly. I just thought he shouldn't be like the underdog in this fight, in my opinion. I've got Gabriel Silva. I actually think he could maybe get a stoppage. More likely, I think it's going to be a decision win, though.
Nice, bro. Yeah, Kyle Phillips, he fought on the Ultimate Fighter, and then went away. Regional scene, lost a fight, and then had a break for whatever reason. Then came back and got a win. They got signed up. So I was a bit surprised he even got signed up with just one win. Since then, so he's on a kind of potential rise back up again to. He's a brown belt as well, Kyle Phillips, which in the gi, which is good. But then I think, like you said, I think Gabriel Silva transfers, who I believe is a black belt, I think off the top of my head, he transfers over the gi grappling to no gi grappling MMA really well. Gabriel Silva, he's very good at finding the opportunities for sweeps, like you said. He's good at finding the holes and the gaps to get, whether threatening for submissions or getting up off the ground or away from his back, so he's not sat flat on his back. I think the Ray Borg fight could have been a accumulation of things where the adrenaline got to him and lost it after the first round. He did tire a little bit, but then again, Ray Borg does put a bit of a pace on people. We've seen that for years now with Ray Borg. He can win fights by wearing guys down, and Gabriel Silva just got tired. That's something you can address in the change room. What am I about? Something you can address in the gym. You can work on your conditioning. I don't think Kyle Phillips is that style of fighter, Ray Borg, where you put that pressure on. I think, like you said, well, if it goes to the ground, I think Gabriel Silva should be able to get the opportunities to reverse or be on top himself for submissions or ground and pound. I think Gabriel Silva will win the fight. I think he'll have the better of the boxing on the feet with the hands. I think he'll land on Kyle Phillips, and that's when Kyle will shoot in for the takedowns to try and get the fight to the ground, to try and change up the fight a bit in his favour, and that's when Silva should take advantage. So I'm going decision for Silva. I don't think he'll get the finish, but I think he'll definitely have a good shot at getting a win here. Next up we have I've got to be honest. Can we just get rid of the women's featherweight division now? Cyborg's gone. Nunes is an absolute monster. She got the champ belt. Get rid of it. We don't need it. There's not really a featherweight division. It's like pulling teeth out. Megan Anderson is fighting Norma Dumont Viviana. Okay, so I'm going to pick Megan Anderson because Norma's had 4 fights against so-so opponents. Bit of a judo, good judo kind of flip takedown she's got. Other than that, she looks far too green. Far too green. Megan will piece her up. Honestly, I think it's a waste of space having this featherweight division. I think the PFL having the 155 women's division is a waste of space as well. He did it purely just for advertisement of an Olympic medalist. And it helps Ali, the terrorist, get his money from her winning it as well because he's manager of it. But yeah, it's a pretty easy wrap. I think Megan Anderson should be able to tie her up with hands, beat her up with the punches, and that's about it, really. I think it'll be a TKO in the first round for Megan. I just think Norma's not. Unless she can get clinch with Megan and take her down with a flip. Because when Megan's on her back, she's not the best. She's a little bit mentally taps out. She mentally gives up a bit. But I just don't think she'll get taken down by this Norma girl. I just don't. I think Norma's going to be too nervous. I just don't see it. I'm not even looking forward to this fight, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, you've got someone. The girl's a bantamweight moving up, and she's not even a big bantamweight. She's quite small, so they know what they're doing here. They're trying to set up Megan Anderson up with a win here, and I mean they're supposedly going back to Australia in June. Like you put her in a fairly decent fight on a pay-per-view, coming off a couple of wins. Whoever you might match her up with, who the hell knows? What I've seen from Norma is that she can be dominant if she can get you down on the ground, but she's so undersized here that she might struggle. She's got some decent kicks, a few decent kicks that I've seen, but outside of her getting Megan Anderson down, that's what she has to do. If she can get Megan down and get to a position where she can maybe get chokes, because like I say, you can't really trust Megan Anderson once it's the ground. On the feet, she's going to get pieced up pretty badly by Megan Anderson, just with her length and everything. So I've got Megan Anderson via TKO. I think the first 2 rounds. Norma might show some heart here, but she's just undersized. She should be fine at 135 if anything. If she should even really be in the UFC at this point. But yeah, I'm going to go Megan Anderson.
And next up we have is violence. Cuțelaba against Ankalaev. What a fight, Will, in the light heavyweight division. 2 talented specimens. I am thoroughly looking forward to this fight, if I'm brutally honest with you. But Will, who are you picking? I know you're excited about this fight. Yeah. Who are you going for, bro?
It's a hard fight to pick because I am such a fan of Cuțelaba. But what I liked about him, and what I've liked about him is just how crazy he is and like how he will come to the jugular straight off the bat. But he's a grappler by trade. Mm-hmm. That's what they're saying since he went to UFC, and we've never seen that until his last fight with Khalil Roundtree, where he took Khalil down and just walloped him over and over again until he got that stoppage in the first round. And that's what we're needing to see from Ion Cuțelaba, because that, like I said, that's where I think his viciousness can really come to the fore. Now, on the feet, he's super aggressive, and with the power that guy's got, he can hurt you any time in the fight. Doesn't matter what part of the fight is. I do worry about his gas tank against someone like Ankalaev, who I think really keeps it in check, doesn't push himself out there, picks his shots really well. I think he can grapple as well. Like I say, but I struggle to see Cuțelaba. If he doesn't get it done in the first round, I think Ankalaev's just going to really start picking at him. And I think that he could start to really kind of take over in the middle to late part of that fight. Like I say, what I like from Ankalaev, and I'll never, and I say this every time, I will never trust that guy up. The Paul Craig debacle. He was winning that fight, and he gets a second left. Happens. But I'm sure he could have held on for an extra second, but it seems like he couldn't. Since then, he's really shown how decent a fighter he is and how he could turn into be a really good fighter. Knocked out Prachnio, nothing really to write home about there. Abreu, I think, is a tough guy to face, especially Abreu, who missed weight, was big, was kind of chunky, looked kind of a little bit out of shape, but ultimately he kind of picked him apart in the feet. He even got a takedown and passed a few times. And then he faced the freak that is kind of Dalcha, who you just have to be careful with that guy at every opportunity because he's a big athletic specimen. So, and then he got that beautiful head kick knockout in the third round. For me, I've got Magomed Ankalaev. I think if he avoids the early kind of bum rush from Cuțelaba, then I think he should kind of pick apart Cuțelaba kind of in the middle to late part of this fight and maybe win via a decision. But I want Cuțelaba to win, honestly. I like the way the guy fights. He's just so aggressive. But I think, looking at it, I think Ankalaev's got it.
Yeah, I love Cuțelaba when he gets a fight matched up because you just know what he's going to bring to the table. And he's one of those kind of... I think he'd be like a fan favourite because you know what you're going to get with him. Like a Mike Perry in a welterweight division, you just know what you're going to get. I think a big sign for me was the Jared Cannonier fight, where, like you said, in the latter rounds, Cuțelaba, the punches didn't have the pop in them anymore because Cannonier stood there and instead go and hit me and let him hit him, and Cannonier just shook it off. He went, nah, there's nothing left. And that was a big worry for me. I kind of thought, hang on a minute. If you haven't got the pop left in the second, third round, what are you bringing to the table? Because he was swinging to try and hurt Cannonier in the second, third round, but instead of trying to be tactical, maybe using the jabs, just to build up your energy a little bit, popping the jabs off, winning the points game. That I don't know if Cuțelaba has that in him. I don't know if he's an all or nothing, and he doesn't care about points. I worry that a little bit. Sometimes you have to have tactics. You have to be a tactical fighter, and I think Ankalaev is a tactical fighter. I think he's a very smart, patient guy, and Ankalaev is a Sambo world champ. So when it comes to the grappling aspect, like you say, Will, Cuțelaba might have a bit of difficulty with Ankalaev on the grappling aspects. I think Ankalaev might be able to neutralise or kind of nullify Cuțelaba's takedown attempts if he were to shoot in. I'm not saying he will, I'm just spitting a hypothetical situation out here. And I think on the feet, as an all-round skill set, Ankalaev has more weapons. Like that front kick was delicious in his last fight, and he actually threw that early on in the fight as well. He finds good timings, he lands good shots, and he's a patient fighter, just picking guys apart. And he didn't look too tired. He makes guys miss. One thing about him is he's really good at with his footwork of moving just out of range of fighters' strikes. He'll throw the shots in, and he just gets out that way. And Cuțelaba is one of those guys who likes to counter by swinging hard. And because he's swinging, he's more swinging hooks rather than straights, which are shorter punches for Ankalaev to get out of. I think Ankalaev just needs to be smart in the first round, to keep the fight at distance, make Cuțelaba chase the fight, make him swing and miss, and then second, third round, he should really start to be able to take him apart. I'm going Ankalaev with a decision win, potentially third round stoppage, but yeah, I think Ankalaev should definitely have this wrapped up. I think he's such a well-rounded fighter, and he's going to be an absolute terror this year. I think he's got at least 2 or 3 more fights left in him to really press himself up in the rankings. And next up we have in the co-main event, Felicia Spencer against Zarah Fairn dos Santos. So that's happening. So
yeah.
Dos Santos, who lost to Megan Anderson in a debut. To be fair, like I said before in the past, Dos Santos, I watched her fight live. She can pop, she can hit hard. She's far too green. I think she's 35, 36 years old as well. So you're kind of clutching at straws with what potential is in there, or how she's going to evolve herself. When she got to the ground with Megan on top in mount, she looked like a fish out of water. She wasn't booking properly. She wasn't trying to jolt, to change the hips, change direction, get half guard. There was no sensible escape plan. She just was, I don't know actually what she was doing, panicking, flopping. I don't know. It was weird to watch. I found it really uncomfortable to watch her in that bout. And I'm thinking, if you're having problems with Megan Anderson on top of you, Felicia Spencer is going to be a fucking nightmare. And that's what's going to happen. Dos Santos is going to come a-charging with a striking, and Felicia's going to go, cool, I'm going to charge in too, grab you, clinch you, flip you, get on top of you, and that's it. I'm going to have a field day. And I think that's what's going to happen here, Will. Yeah. I think Felicia Spencer's going to flip her, get her down, use that kind of judo grappling aspect to get like a kind of scarf hold or side control, get to mount, throw some shots, and as Dos Santos puts either her hands up, one thing she did do with Megan Anderson was put her hands up, which opens up for arm bars, but Megan wasn't confident enough probably to get the arm bar. Felicia will go for the arm bar, or she'll probably give her back up and Felicia will get the rear naked choke in like she did with Megan. So I'm going submission win, first round Spencer.
Yeah, first round submission for Spencer. Like, I don't know what I'm going to say. The girl can't stop takedowns, and I think she's against a kind of bowling ball here, and Spencer, who will barrel you to the ground. And once she gets there, she's shown that she's actually pretty good. She's very dominant in that space. She's a top heavy girl that she once she's on top of you, you're going to kind of feel it. So yeah, I'm not going to waste people's time listening to this. It's going to be a first round submission. I'd be surprised if it got out the first round, but like I say, a puncher's chance with Zarah. I just don't see it happening. I see Phenom here, as they call her, just kind of rolling through her pretty easily, but interesting to see kind of where she goes from there. Maybe she can drop down to 135, I don't know, but there's nothing really at her at 145, maybe facing Nunes. I don't know whether you want to make that fight, but I've got Spencer via first round submission.
Now, the main event, the vacant title, Will. Joseph Benavidez is going to finally potentially win his title. Is he finally going to get a chance at the flyweight and be the champ? He's been so short on it for so long, with the domination of Demetrius Johnson, the domination then of Henry Cejudo popping along. He's always fell short, Benavidez. He's always been like that number 2 guy, but he's fighting an absolute savage in Figueiredo. Will, is he going to win? Or is Figueiredo going to wear that belt, mate?
It's a great fight. It's two guys I really like. I've been a fan of Benavidez for years.
Yeah.
Like, he's such a staple of the kind of lower weight divisions.
Yeah.
Even when he was fighting at 135, this guy was beating everybody outside of champion, Dominic Cruz. And I've had some people say to me this week, he's 0-3 in title fights, but look he's lost to Cruz and he's lost twice to DJ, like, who are dominant in their respective divisions. So, and he fought close. He fought kind of outside the knockout against DJ. He kind of fought them close, and he will fight anybody close. Doesn't matter who it is in that division. I don't see anybody really running over like a Joseph Benavidez, not yet. But he is 35 years old, so he is a wee bit long in the tooth. But this is his opportunity here, and he must realise that this is probably his last opportunity, because where he is, he's beat everybody in the division already, pretty much. And this is the guy he's beating. He beat the champion who had the belt before. So I've always thought that he was going to get the belt at some point. As long as when DJ went, I thought that's his opportunity, because I thought he could definitely beat Cejudo. He could beat some of the other guys up there. But when you look at Benavidez, the guy's a scrappy dude. Like, he really is. He's super unpredictable. You don't know what he's coming with. The one thing I don't like is the way he kind of burrows forward head first. That's why he headbutts people or gets cut open or whatever, and then he'll throw plenty of strikes off that. Like, he really is kind of unpredictable. Comes forward, he doesn't kind of discriminate. He goes body, head, body. He'll throw loads of kicks. He's got a really, really devastating calf kick that he used against Formiga, which he's used in the past as well. And then eventually, once you start to lower those, the guard comes down and he goes high like he did against Formiga. So, and Formiga is one of the toughest guys in that division. He's beat him twice now. So that's what I'm saying. He's beat that whole entire division, and sometimes twice over as well. And once you get this guy down, he scrambles so well that he seems to get into a dominant position straight after that. It's crazy how it happens. But he is facing a guy here in Figueiredo who, if he comes in with that head forward and doesn't watch what he's doing, that he could easily catch a shot off Deiveson, because Deiveson hits, he can crack. And you've seen that in some of these UFC fights before. We've seen against Tim Elliott. He was getting outstruck. You know what Tim Elliott's like. He bobs all over the place and hits you with shots. But when Deiveson threw his shots, like, they hurt. You could see like the head moving Elliott a little bit. They were affecting him. And then he just went in sloppy takedown. Probably didn't think Figueiredo had that in him, and caught him with an absolute vicious guillotine choke. The kind of way I see this fight going is, I see Benavidez having more output, but he is at the chance of being kind of hit against Figueiredo, and that's what kind of worries me, that he might get hit with a big shot, and he could be put out. Figueiredo's got the kind of power that I think could put him down. For me, when I look at Benavidez, I think he needs to try and get some reactionary takedowns, and use the aggressiveness of Deiveson coming forward and try and use that to his advantage, because that's what Formiga did against Figueiredo. He used the aggressiveness of Figueiredo, timed it beautifully, took the fight to the ground, and then once you get Formiga on the ground, it's like that's his world pretty much. But like I say, he is 35. Could he have maybe slowed down? Possibly. Figueiredo, I'm not sure whether he can go hard for 25 minutes. I could be wrong. So yeah, I think he's got the wrestling to win this fight. I think on the feet, that's where he has to be careful, though. I think he can do damage on the feet. Like, there's no doubt about it. He's got some weapons there. But I think the takedowns is what's going to win him this fight. If he can get 1 to 3 takedowns across 25 minutes of the fight, I think that he will win rounds through that due to his activity on the feet. But he has to be on his guard the whole entire fight, because Figueiredo will come after you. He's very hard to, when he starts pushing forward, it's hard to really get off the cage or get away from him. So I've got Benavidez over 25 minutes. I really hope he gets this done. And I feel kind of bad in saying that, because Deiveson is a guy I like watching, but Benavidez is, in my opinion, one of the legends of the sport, the lower weight classes, and he deserves this opportunity. And like I said earlier on in my one, could you imagine having Megan Levy on one side and a UFC title strapped on your shoulder on this side? Kind of doesn't really get much better than that. So I've got Joseph Benavidez via decision, like a 49-46 decision.
No, it doesn't, Will, especially after meeting Megan Levy in person. It really puts it in perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Oh, what a fight. Figueiredo as well, like I said, the pop, what he does is he just puts his feet down. He has feet flat for when he throws those punches, and that's where he gets that power. He's not... A lot of the guys in the lower weight classes, they'll spring in and out, so they're popping his shots here and there. And it's more of an accumulation of shots rather than trying to land their power shots. Figueiredo just puts those feet down as you're coming in and just goes, right, cool, I'm just going to throw these hands. And he does crack guys. Benavidez, it is a bit weird, but he does, like you say, like it's like a charging bull. He puts his head down, comes up with the combinations. And I think part of that is you then have to question when he's ducking down like that. Is he ducking down because he's going to go in for the entry for the takedown? Is he ducking down because he's going for the body shot? Or is he just ducking down because it's his technique and it's a way to discard is what he's wanting to throw? Because you then don't know if he's going upstairs, downstairs. I think the key for Benavidez to win would be leg kicks and using them to start the fight to then implement the wrestling later on when Figueiredo's a little bit harder on his feet, so he's not as springing around. So there's opportunity for the takedowns when Benavidez comes in with the cluster of shots, shoots in, gets takedowns in. That's the key for me for Benavidez' way to win. Figueiredo, for me, for his game plan to win, potentially for the takedowns, look for the sweep straight away or the choke, or if anything, if I'm Figueiredo, is angles. Figueiredo win this fight, all he has to do is when Benavidez is coming in, is cut an angle left or right and pop and plant them feet and throw a counter strike, and that would be huge for Figueiredo. If he bothered to put that into his game plan, I think he'd absolutely mess Benavidez up, because Benavidez then would be chasing the fight quite a lot after landing his shots. I half expect Benavidez to be having a cut somewhere in this fight because he's been cut so many times. 100% of, even it will be a nothing hit, it'll probably be a nothing punch that will open up a previous scar tissue, I reckon. I'm not saying judges go off that, but that could be a silly thing that pops up to the referee and the judges, like when you see the blood trickling. So we've got to be careful with that. But I think I'm going to go with Benavidez because they have got a beautiful game plan. His team's around him, the experience of guys around him, they all know him, and he's a smart fighter. Benavidez, he is a very clever fighter. And he has got that wrestling game, and I think if he implements those leg kicks to start with, gets the takedowns kind of from the second, third round onwards, he really should be able to take advantage of that, get Figueiredo guessing, like you said. Then when he goes in with the charging effect, it causes Figueiredo to have to rethink about what he's going to do, because I just don't see Figueiredo using those angles that he should do to beat Benavidez, because if I'm honest, I think Benavidez is a lot easier to beat than he is. You know, I think those angles, a lot of guys, if they put those angles a bit more when he charges in, is just there for the taking, but that's just me. I'm going to go decision Benavidez. Absolutely looking forward to it. I think Figueiredo is a fantastic, valid guy to fight for the belt. I think if he won the belt, I would not argue or be down about it. I think he's a great opponent, and it's going to be a fantastic fight for the flyweight title, really. Yeah. Even though I think they've only got 14 guys in the rankings, so it's a bit worrying. But that's our picks. Let us know your picks below. We'd love to see who you've got coming up for this card, which fights you're looking forward to, and which fights maybe you're not looking forward to. We're going to jump over to Will's bets. So again, hit the subscribe button before we get the bets out, and let us know your bets, who you're picking for the fight card, or if there's any bets you're thinking about putting on, or maybe even suggest ideas to us about prop bets, or maybe picks. Will, is there any parlays, straight picks, prop bets? What are you thinking, bro?
I've got, like I say, I've got two bets. I already told you about the Silva one. I've got plus 140. I've also got Sean Brady plus 140 as well. Now he's down to minus 110. So there's been no minus 110, plus 110. So money has been coming in on him as well. It was just, to me, it was too high a price against Naurdiev. Now it might be getting down to where it should be a pick'em kind of fight. That's what I think. Maybe Naurdiev should be slightly favoured, but I have those two bets. I'm also Tom Breese. We've got, I think he's like minus 120, minus 125 over here in the UK. I think if he shows up mentally in the right place, I think he beats. I just think he's a better fighter than Brendan Aalon. I think to me that's a bet I like. I also like Benavidez as a bet, minus 125. I know there's some kind of hard points of that fight. I think that Deiveson's going to maybe come forward and maybe look a little bit dangerous, but Benavidez has like fought them all, and he usually finds a way to win. So
Yeah.
For me, it's not really a card. Looking at it for parlays, look, if you want to do big parlays, you've got Spencer minus 800, you've got maybe Megan Anderson minus 250, you've got Grant Skelly minus 400, whatever he is at. If you like playing chalk like that, then go ahead and parlay all that together. I don't know what the number would be if it came to that, but
What about prop betting, bro? What about like Benavidez, Figueiredo over 2.5 rounds, or maybe Spencer submission or Anderson TKO, stuff like that?
yeah, there's no lines out for the submissions or anything at all.
No, not yet. No.
But just looking on best fight odds here, I'll go and throw a parlay together just really, really quickly here, which I think might not be a bad one, but fight doesn't go to decision like Felicia Spencer. And then you look at the Grant Dawson one. Let me see if I can find Grant Dawson. Let me find that there. Fight doesn't go to decision, minus 280. So if you put them two fights together, fight doesn't go to decision, which I don't think it will. You're getting minus 110.
Which is solid.
That's nearly at plus money for that. And even if you wanted, you could maybe throw a Megan Anderson in that straight. It's plus 172. But like I say, that's risky. I would just play that without having Megan Anderson in it.
Yeah, plus minus 110, yeah.
110, I think, is actually pretty decent. So, to me, like I say, Cuțelaba, the money's actually, just looking at that now, money's kind of coming in. Cuțelaba, he was plus 200, he's like now minus plus 180, so money's coming in on him. But yeah, like to me, the other kind of four ones I like Brady, Silva, Benavidez, and Breese. Are the four straight bets I like for that one. Don't think I'm really going to look anywhere else in that card. Maybe that parlay actually seems quite nice. The inside the distance stuff doesn't go to decisions. So yeah, but that's kind of where I'm at for this card.
Nice, bro. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, give us your bets down below. Be great to hear from you. Hit that subscribe button. And as always, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Yes, next week, because there's another card. It doesn't end. The wheel keeps turning. It's a little fight with two little boys, Adesanya and Romero, which feels weird that it's come so quick.
Yes.
It's not just me thinking it's come up real quick. So yeah, I'm buzzing that's happening. And obviously, Willie against Jacek as well, so that's going to be happening on that card. O'Malley's back, who is a bit of a name now, sort of speaking at the UFC division. Mershak against Win, which if you follow Gerald Mershak's social media, the kind of humour he's doing with it, brilliant, well worth watching out with the height difference. But overall, it's going to be a fun fight. Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll speak to you all next week.